The bus is already crowded. George stands last in line. Checks his watch. Again. If he logs in late, it flags it on the system. Flags mean notes. Notes mean warnings. Warnings mean meetings in glass rooms. His jaw tightens. The morning still hums in his head. White hood, white skin, power. The image mutates as he waits. Not a sheet now, a uniform. Blue, pressed sharp enough to cut. He sees the man clearly, because of course it's a man. Tall, blonde, young in the way of men built for history books. Shoulders squared by purpose, a sidearm holstered on his thigh, metal catching light. Somewhere in America, a silo deep in flat land, red dust, wind pushing at chain link fences. Inside, cool air, fluorescent certainty, checklists spoken in calm voices, senior officer beside him, gloved hands hovering over guarded switches, missile away drills rehearsed. Power. The weapon, long and waiting in the dark below them. Phallic. Male. Absolute. George feels it again. That faint electric charge, the same flicker that ran through him when the old tower whined back to life in the cold room. He swallows. The queue lengthens behind him. Coats brushing, breath in the cold. He checks his watch again. The tremor is still there. A dull headache begins to gather behind his eyes. Then, air brakes. The bus pulls in with a long mechanical sigh. Reality returns in diesel and condensation. The line compresses, shuffles forwards. George moves with it. Tight steps, counting seconds in his head. Up ahead, a hold-up. A small figure in black at the front of the queue. A woman in a full burqa, fabric swallowing shape and movement, even the eyes hidden behind a dark mesh. A pushchair, awkwardly angled at the curb. The driver has lowered the ramp. A hiss of released air. Still she struggles. The pushchair catches the lip. A little girl inside starts crying, thin and panicked. Bright carrier bags hang from the handles, heavy with shopping, plastic stretched, white at the seams, Arabic lettering in bold colours. The weight threatens to tip the pushchair backwards. The woman tries again. One hand on the frame, one hand on the clear bags. The ramp judders slightly under the effort. People bunch behind George now. Warm bodies pressing in on his coat. A middle-aged white woman somewhere over his shoulder tuts loudly. The sound lands like permission. George feels impatience bloom. Hot, sharp. Another glance at his watch. Seconds slipping under his breath. Barely sound at all. Come on, come on. Not loud enough to own, just to release something inside him. The girl's crying rises a pitch. The driver waits, one hand on the rail, eyes flicking between mirrors and the slow choreography at his door. George stares at the black fabric. The imagined missile man flickers somewhere behind his eyes. Blue uniform, hard lines, controlled power. Here, soft struggle. Plastic bags. A crying child. A cue breathing down his neck. The headache pulses once. Twice. The ramp rattles as the pushchair finally bumps forward an inch. The line exhales. George checks his watch again. Late is coming. He can feel it like weather. And then there's no thinking anymore, just sound. The pushchair rattling against metal. A hollow knock as a wheel hits the first step. A sharp bump as it lifts and drops again. The black shape in front of him tilts, the woman trying to stop it tipping backwards, her arms straining, the other one catching slipping bags. Plastic rustles in the cold air. George feels pressure at his neck, the queue compressing, someone's coat sleeve bunching into his shoulder blades. A physical push as he braces against it, feet widening slightly to hold his ground. No fantasy now, no missile silos, just weight and noise and breath and seconds bleeding away. His eyes lock onto the bag swaying from the pushchair handles. Arabic script looping across the bright plastic. Inside he sees shapes through the film. Bread, eggs, toilet rolls, flour, milk, soft drinks, bottled water. Ordinary life in another alphabet. Abdul flashes into him without warning. The glass office, the word inappropriate, the heat of humiliation crawling up his neck while strangers spoke softly about his behaviour. The unopened email from this morning flickers at the edge of memory. He swallows. The pushchair judders again. The girl cries harder. Then a movement slices the moment open. A young man steps past him from behind somewhere, quick, fluid, unapologetic, a tote bag slung over his shoulder, a Palestinian flag printed on the canvas, an anti-war sticker peeling at one corner. The words are out of George before he can stop them. Don't push in, arsehole! He spits under his breath. The young man doesn't react. Already crouching, slim, fit, easy, strength in the movement. He grips the pushchair frame and lifts it in one smooth motion. Up the ramp, onto the bus, effortlessly. The crying child falters in surprise. The woman steadies herself on the rail from behind the veil and in careful, clear English. Thank you. You are most kind. The young man nods once, almost embarrassed by it, then steps aside. He gestures lightly, letting George go first. The space opens. Expectation shifts. George climbs the ramp, legs heavier than they should be. The driver's eyes flick toward him in the mirror. The bus smells of damp coats and warm plastic. Behind him, the young woman follows easily, already folding herself into the aisle at the side. This cost him already folding herself. Behind him, the young man follows easily, already folding himself into the aisle, as if the moment cost him nothing. George feels something sink in his chest. Not anger, not relief, something weaker, looser, a sagging where a wire was held in tension, humiliation, thin and cold, spreading under the ribs as he fumbles for his pass and steps fully into the bus. No seats, just bodies, damp coats, brushing sleeves, the sour smell of wool, cheap deodorant, and trapped diesel in the warm air. He grips the yellow pole automatically, palm already slick. The tremor makes the bus faintly shake against his skin. The bus lurches forwards. He sways, catches himself. A shoulder knocks his. Someone mutters an apology without looking at him. Too close. Everyone too close. He becomes aware of his body in fragments. The pull on his lower back, the weight of his gut against a buttoned shirt, the dull throb building behind his eyes, his own breath, loud in his ears. No distance here, no height, no room to step back into himself. Just the slow crawl of the bus and the long, exposed minutes of standing inside it. Well, that is the end of chapter 3. I've got chapter 4 already written, but I'm just working on finally polishing it up. I would encourage you, please share. It's my work, copyright Anthony E.C. Linford, the 24th of February 2026 in Galston, Great Yarmouth, UK. Bye for now.